You know, I've been shitting on Nintendo quite lately in many of these videos, and frankly, I find that a little bit unfair. Recently, with Mario Kart 8 coming out on the Switch, I figured I might as well buy my second Switch game. Actually, that's a lie. It's probably my third or fourth game. Well, my second actual physical Switch cartridge. And I gotta say, as far as the game goes, it's pretty nice. You get to, split up the Joy-Cons, play with your friends. It's actually really cool how that game is handled. I gotta say, from that point on, it really burned in the idea of how cool the Switch's split screen was, and frankly, how awesome it is to take it into the dock and take it out. But this isn't about that. It really isn't. Of course, by the title, you can guess that today I need to talk about something I feel weird on the Xbox front. Now, the only thing I've heard about the Xbox very recently is the Xbox Scorpio, where the system can run games at 4K 60 frames per second, and frankly, that's all I've been hearing, and all I hear is graphics on that front. Sure, the games look nice and everything, but it's weirding me out on how little of Xbox One titles that I'm seeing come out. And 2017 so far has been an absolute amazing year for video games. Even Mass Effect Andromeda, which came out pretty, I found, was okay, was playable, nothing massively special. It wasn't, it didn't die, I guess. At the end of the day, I still could play through it. But, that game is shit compared to many other games that came out this year too. Hell, Persona 5, a game that I just recently finished, is enough to tell me, alright, that this year I've already gotten my Game of the Year contenders. Not even just Persona 5, you got games like Nier Automata and whatnot. You had Resident Evil 7 come out, even Outlast 2, which I'm getting into, is, shaping up to be pretty interesting. Not as interesting as, say, Resident Evil 7, but, games in 2017 have apparently been really, really freaking good. To the point where it's almost reminding me of, when Dark Souls came out, games like GTA, all those big budget titles, big passion-filled titles back in the day have slowly resurged. Now, the Xbox One isn't, innocent to all this, too. It's getting its fair share of games. Of course, it's coming out on the PC as well. Games like Forza Horizon 3, which is already one of my favorite racing games, period, this generation, if not all time. It's just one of those games that gives you cars, it gives you an open road, and bam, that's all you need. Halo Wars 2, which is a great successor to the original Halo Wars. If you haven't played Halo Wars or Halo Wars 2 and, you want to dabble into a little bit of RTS, go for it. Gears of War 4, I couldn't muster the courage to really finish it. I just got kind of bored about that game halfway in. Which is a shame, because usually I'm a big fan of Gears of War, and I could go through all the games typically on the first day, but this game just didn't really give me all the passion to go through it. So it looks nice, it certainly plays nice, the multiplayer's okay, but it just doesn't have that feel of the original, games that I played. And that's what I've been feeling a lot lately with a lot of these Xbox One exclusive games. I can't really call them exclusive because they're also on PC. But regardless, I've noticed that the PlayStation 4 has been pumping out a lot more interesting games lately, games like Horizon Zero Dawn, which I really enjoyed, Nier Automata. Of course, it's also on PC, but you get what I'm saying. A lot of these games are coming out on that platform, and of course, I guess my tastes are a little geared towards that variety. I'm more of a single-player type gamer anyways. I play multiplayer, not terribly as much, or if I do, I play games like Rainbow Six Siege. Recently, it's like PlayerUnknown's Battleground, but you get the point. Gears of War 4 hasn't been getting my fancy. Halo Wars 5 got a little bit out of it, but lately with Xbox One games, I've been finding that they're kind of shells of what they really used to be. Back in the day when Xbox 360, even though it had less exclusives, I often found out that the exclusives on that system really put a lot of all into it. You fire up Halo Reach, you fire up Gears of War 3, those games are filled to the brim with content, innovations in their franchises, and a lot of heart, I gotta say, from their respective companies. And I haven't really been seeing that come through with Xbox One titles lately either. I've just really been seeing the heavy force on monetizing all these games as much as they really can with the, usage of card packs and many, many bits of microtransaction DLC, which I guess is okay for some cases, because in many of these cases with Xbox games, they've been using it to funnel it back into the community in one form. So it's both good and a bad. But again, moving on forward, I found out that I don't really know what's coming out for Xbox One. When I made the last Xbox One-centric video, I talked about Scalebound getting canceled, which was a Platinum Games title. And of course, no one really knows the whole troubled stuff behind it. We all know that there was a falling out between Microsoft and Platinum in terms of how the game was developed, and frankly, it had to get axed to that point. Platinum then released Nier Automata on the PlayStation 4, exclusively, console-wise, and then they also had it on the PC. So, regardless, Platinum was still working on a lot of stuff. It seems like Scalebound didn't come through. Microsoft said that it was better for us to miss out on Scalebound because I guess it wasn't an Xbox-oriented brand, which is whatever. At the end of the day, if you whatever Microsoft's thoughts are, whatever a lot of people's thoughts are, the project is dead and over with. But I've noticed that the PS4 is slowly getting more and more and more. It's got Death Stranding coming. It's got a lot of its games just pumping out. And Xbox isn't missing out. You know, we're getting Crackdown. We're getting that's the problem. We're getting a pirate game from Rare, and frankly, it starts to dwindle at that point. It seems like a lot of the gamers on that camp are really pushing this new system out, which is, of course, a substantial upgrade to Xbox One, where you're getting better resolutions and frame rates. But I've realized, of course, that's not what makes a game. You know, whereas the competition are getting a good amount of games, you know, even with the Nintendo Switch, you know, it just came out, of course, it's a Zelda machine kind of at this point. It's getting Mario Kart, it's going to get Splatoon, it's going to get some new IPs as Nintendo has claimed, and frankly, it's got a gimmick that kind of attracts people. If it got more games, I'd be playing the Switch a lot more, you know, connecting it to a dock, taking it wherever I went. With Xbox One, I'm coming across a system that constantly updates its UI to really get all fussy and in the way. I've recently updated the Xbox One and it went through another change where I feel like the UI keeps getting slower. I don't know why. It's almost like an iPhone where it's like 3 generations behind, but you updated it to the recent firmware and it's like completely going haywire because I guess it just can't handle all the updates or the revisions to the code. Alongside that, Microsoft's really been pushing a lot of backwards compatibility, which is nice. I must say that is definitely a feature that I really appreciate. It makes playing a lot of those classic Xbox 360 games much more playable because of the upgraded emulator on the Xbox One. But again, when we're talking about new games, I'm feeling like Microsoft's really dropping the ball with the Xbox platform. I feel like we're not getting many new games, and if we are getting games, you're getting games that are frankly available on every other system. Games like Battlefield, Call of Duty, Destiny 2, FIFA, all that kind of stuff. I feel like Xbox is focused less and less on original content, which it's kind of shocking because when the system first came out, they were really trying to dip their feet into many new franchises, which ultimately, again, didn't really take off. Things like, you know, Rise, Son of Rome, which granted wasn't that great of a game, but you could see that Microsoft was trying to push as much as they can into some form of new exclusive IPs, which they still are, but frankly, with the cancellation Scalebound, which was a major game that they were pushing, who knows what else is next. You know, I know we also got games like Dead Rising 4, and frankly, it's all good on that front, but they're just stretched out to the point where it seems like most of these games are ending up in a more forgettable camp than you could have expected. And maybe, just maybe that might be because I'm more of a PlayStation gamer at this point, just because my Xbox has not been able to get a lot of love, frankly, because there's just not a lot of games being coming out for that system that are must-have titles or anything like so. You know, where you have, you know, Neo, you have Bloodborne, you have Horizon Zero Dawn, you have exclusive games coming out on the competitive platform, you know, even games that are raking in amazing reviews, and games that are really good, like Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. While it may be the only recent release on the Wii U and the Nintendo Switch, it's shocking how great of a game that is when you really sink your teeth into it. I recently finished it for the second time when I did all the side quests and whatnot, and I gotta tell you, that game really makes you want to explore. It's actually surprising how much that game can really suck you in when you let it suck you in. It's like going into an Elder Scrolls game, right, with just blank expectations and really getting sucked into that world. And with the Xbox One side, I'm really not seeing a lot of it being attractive. Whereas I used to have friends who wanted to get the system because there were genuinely good games coming out for it, and Microsoft was really giving a damn. It seems like because of this shift to the Xbox Scorpio, we're focusing more on graphics. And sure, the graphics are nice, don't get me wrong, that'll make the system look really great. I think with the new system that's coming out, with how much power that it has for the price that it's projected at, is really kick-ass. But at the same time, if there's not enough individual games coming out for that system, it just gives people more of a reason to go get a PC and play those same games on that platform with no fucking restrictions. I feel like with Xbox, you know, lately I've been giving it a lot of a pass, and I think I've been ignoring it, and a lot of people have really been ignoring it too. There just aren't that many games that are coming out for the system. Seriously, every game that I'm looking at that's coming out upcoming is available on the PlayStation 4 and the PC, and sometimes it's available better running on those platforms. What sucks most is when I look up exclusive titles, I see a couple of them, but none of them are so high profile and close by that it's making the Xbox One or the One S look like consoles worth going out of your way to purchase, which is a shame because at one point the Xbox released some really, really damn good exclusives. While there were few, they were some of the best in their class, and they definitely garnered well-praised attention. You know, you could put in Halo Reach, you could put in Gears 3, you can put in any of the motorsport games. Hell, Forza Horizon when it came out on the original 360, and it blew people away. And until now, it almost feels the same, except the quality of those individuals' games have been declining. Microsoft's focusing a lot on microtransactioning the hell out of it, spacing out these games, and when you end up getting these games like Gears of War 4, for example, yeah, it's a fun game, it's really nice, but it just loses that oomph that I feel the 360 titles even had. You know, the graphics may have gotten nicer, but I feel like the game has gotten a little more shallower in due time, and I don't see many people really talking about this, and I really wanted to bring attention to it because I play all the systems, don't get me wrong. You might see me record more on the PlayStation, or you might see me play more on the PC, but I really do give a damn about all these systems. And frankly, when I see my Xbox One S sitting around and it's just gathering some form of dust, it really kind of hurts you inside because, you know, the system can have some really decent games. You know, Microsoft has a whole vault of games they can dig into, and frankly, it just shows that they don't, and with this new wave they're headed to with graphics and whatnot, it's just kind of weird. And I don't understand why many people haven't been discussing it, and just frankly, why it's a topic that's just completely unheard of. Maybe it's because the console is, in a way, when it comes to games, somewhat irrelevant. I'm talking about exclusive games. But frankly, I just wanted to bring attention to this because it's just been on my mind for a couple days at this point, and I don't know, it's just the more and more I think about it, the more and more I research on the Xbox One, it just seems like a system where I think the core message of Microsoft has changed more for giving people shinier pixels and better anti-aliasing than just actual games. And as somebody who's noticed that 2017 has been some of the damn fun, some of the best games released this year, seeing that one platform is getting completely blindsided with neglect in terms of actually releasing software, it's a little spooky, I gotta say. And I'm just saying this for all the Xbox gamers out there. There's plenty of them out, and frankly, they're not just getting a lot of games, and I don't see many people talking about it either. So let me know what you think about it. Let me know what you think about gaming in general in 2017. You already got a game of the year? Let me know. If you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Just like if you dislike it. This is me, Mutahar, and I am out.